Kody stood at the end of the driveway, his fists balled, jaw clenched. The sun was going down behind the mountains, stunning, serene, almost taunting. This wasn't yet another family sit-down. This was his day of reckoning. Christine had summoned everyone to the old Flagstaff property, what was left of their so-called ideal. But Kody didn't arrive to discuss. He arrived to get answers. And if he didn't receive them, the harm could never be repaired. Christine stood tall and serene, almost too serene. And that was what unsettled him most. "I want to know the truth of what you did with that land deal, Christine," Kody barked, his voice ringing out across the gravel. She didn't move, didn't even blink. "You sure you're ready for it?" Behind her, Janelle folded her arms across her chest, already deciding where she stood. Garrison leaned quietly against the fence post, observing all of it with that inscrutable gaze. And Robyn? She stood back, waiting for the right moment. But even she seemed ill at ease today. This wasn't about money. This was about pride, power, and the last vestige of control that Kody believed he still maintained. "You manipulated me. You waited until I was weakest. Then you walked away with the land and left me with nothing." His voice cracked, not with sadness, but with shame. Christine's expression didn't alter, but her tone did. "You want to discuss manipulation, Kody? Let's discuss the promises you made. The contracts you disregarded. The women you left behind." The air grew heavy. Silence rolled through the crowd like a front of storms. Garrison reached into his coat pocket, produced a folded piece of paper. And for the first time, Christine shifted her gaze slightly, nodded to him. He moved slowly forward, presented the paper to his father. "You may want to read that before you continue to accuse her. Whatever was in that paper would turn everything around, before the truth is revealed." If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Sister Wives Daily Scoop. For more exclusive stories, emotional turns, and the truth behind the headlines, tap that button now. We promise, this is only the beginning. Kody's hands trembled as he read. His face fell, his lips parted. A deed, a signature, a lawful transfer of the property, but not forged, not coerced, signed voluntarily, by him alone, months prior to the breakup. Tucked away in papers he never took the trouble to read. Christine had paid the taxes, kept up the maintenance, and attempted to sell, but he never answered her attorney. He wasn't stolen from, he was irresponsible. No, this can't be right," Kody grumbled. But Christine wasn't triumphing. She wasn't even smiling. She was exhausted, weary. Like this had been hanging on her for decades. "I did not take it, Kody. You relinquished it. You just did not want to accept it." And in that moment, the great Kody Brown didn't appear to be a leader. He appeared to be a man who just figured out he lost more than territory. This land wasn't ever about soil and trees. Christine spoke softly now. "It was the only place we all stood as equals. The only place that was ours. And you were the first to walk away." Robyn moved at last, for once uncertain where she stood. "Kody, perhaps we were wrong. Perhaps you should have listened, but too late for perhaps." Kody Brown had set out to get justice. Instead, he discovered the mirror, ready to find out what happens when Christine gets on the witness stand and comes clean about the deal that tore the family asunder. Tune in. This courtroom drama is just getting hotter. Kody said nothing for almost a minute. He stood there, deed in hand, stuck in an uproar of confusion, regret, and denial. The man who had once proclaimed dominion over every aspect of their existence now gazed upon a solitary piece of paper that dismantled his power. Christine turned to the others and spoke sternly. "He wanted a hearing, so let's give him one." Garrison strode out to the patio and pulled a bench across into the center of the yard, as if it were a makeshift courtroom floor. Janelle trailed along behind him. Robyn stood at Kody's back, holding on to her purse, as if it could defend her from what was to come next. This was not a meeting anymore. It was a reckoning. Christine settled into her seat first, calm, composed, ready. Kody finally shifted, refolding the paper into his coat as if it were a bomb. He stood in front of her. His hands were still trembling. "You think that paper exonerates you?" He spat. "You think it makes you holy?" Christine didn't flinch. "I think it shows I didn't lie." Robyn spoke up. "Kody, when did you transfer that deed over? Do you recall?" He opened his mouth, and then closed it. "I don't know. I don't remember." Christine nodded. "You signed it after our mediation. After you told me you didn't want anything attached to the women who betrayed you. I asked you if you were certain. You said yes. The words rang out. The women who betrayed you. But what if Kody had betrayed himself? You created this mess, said Janelle softly, her tone low but biting. You gave up control when you stopped showing up. We all did our part. You walked out. Kody's face contorted. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He had come for revenge, vindication. But the facts were piling up against him like exhibits in a courtroom he never subscribed to. Christine dug into her bag and produced a second folder. This one was thicker. If we're laying it all out, let's finish it. Inside were emails, letters, photos of the property. Not just Christine's voice, but a paper trail of her trying to maintain the land, trying to include Kody. And every time he ignored her. Robyn leaned over and whispered, "Is this true?" Kody didn't answer. "You want to accuse me of betrayal?" Christine said sharply. "Are you going to play victim in front of your own children? Then tell them the truth, Kody. Tell them how many chances you were given." The silence was savage, the kind of silence that only truth creates. And then Garrison opened his mouth. "I was there the day it happened. I saw you toss the packet into the garbage. You never even opened it." Kody's head swiveled around to face him. "You were just a child, old enough to remember who cared about this family and who didn't." It wasn't an argument any longer. It was a trial. And Kody had just lost the jury. Kody's silence said more than any denial ever could. Everyone was watching now. Not just the family but the audience of every betrayal he'd tried to bury. And Christine? She didn't even raise her voice. She just said one last thing. "You lost the land, Kody. Not because I took it, but because you let go of us first." The verdict wasn't spoken, but it was felt. Kody retreated from the bench, his breathing shallow. The courtroom he thought he could control had become a mirror he couldn't look away from. The truth wasn't Christine's to prove anymore. It was Kody's to live with. Kody did not sit down. He could not. His legs were too tight, and his pride was shattering with each passing moment. Christine sat silently, not victorious, just drained, as if she'd finally put down a weight she'd been carrying for too long. Janelle folded her legs, gazing at Kody like a veteran witness waiting for the defense to implode. Garrison stared off into the woods, jaw clenched. He'd witnessed enough. And then Robyn, always poised, always calculating, stepped forward. She hadn't said much during the fight, but now, something in her had changed, and her silence broke. "Christine," she whispered, "there's something you don't know, something I didn't think was important, but it is." Kody spun around. "Robyn, don't." But she didn't listen. She regarded Christine, not with hatred, but almost with guilt. "After the mediation, after Kody signed the deed, he wanted me to assist him in filing a reversal. A legal battle to reclaim it." Christine blinked. "What?" "I told him not to. I pleaded with him to give up on it." Robyn continued, her voice trembly now. "But I printed the documents. He never filed them. But not because he had changed his mind. Because he forgot." The silence chilled. Kody's secret wasn't only revealed. It was pulled out into the open by the only person who used to stand up for him blindly. "You attempted to reclaim the land after handing it over?" Janelle questioned, shocked. "He claimed Christine tricked him," Robyn replied, her voice trembling. "But I began reading the emails. I noticed the dates." She warned him. Repeatedly. Kody turned his back on the group, his shoulders heaving with shallow breaths. "You weren't supposed to tell them," he said under his breath. "We agreed we'd stay united. You know." Robyn replied, almost whispering. "You asked me to protect your story, not the truth." The air went razor sharp. For the first time, Robyn's loyalty wasn't to Kody, it was to the truth. Kody didn't lose control. He gave it away, piece by piece, then blamed everyone else for the silence that followed. "I wanted to believe you were just hurt," Robyn said. "But now I see you were trying to rewrite history. And that's not love, that's fear." Christine didn't budge, but her eyes softened, not towards Kody, but towards Robyn. "Thank you," she said simply, "for telling the truth." Robyn nodded, fighting back tears. Janelle rose slowly. "I think we've heard enough." But Garrison wasn't finished. "Actually, I brought one more thing." From his backpack, he extracted an old family photograph, taken years before, when all 4 wives were standing with Kody, children at their feet, smiles painted on like shields. "This was hung in Mom's hallway," Garrison said, "until the day Dad stopped calling." He placed the photograph on the bench, between Christine and Kody. You want to discuss what got taken, Dad? It wasn't property. It was this. Truth wasn't a knife. It was a mirror. And Kody had finally run out of ways to look away. Kody remained still. For the first time in too long, he didn't protest. He didn't lie. He just gazed down. Down at the photograph. At the life he used to construct. At the followers no longer behind. And for a fleeting moment, his rage shattered into something softer. Regret. The picture continued to rest on the bench, dust swirling in the golden light, as if time itself had been halted for this brief second. Kody had not budged since Garrison had set it there. His expression, once so hot and unyielding, now calm, nearly empty. You could see it in his eyes. Something had broken. Not merely ego, but self. You didn't lose just the land, Garrison said once more. You lost us, and you still do not understand why. Janelle backed up, arms wrapped tightly across her chest. She had nothing left to say, and her silence was more powerful than words. Robyn sat down on the porch steps, far away now, like she was trying to rewrite her own role in this too. And Christine, she stood, not victorious, not condescending, just serene. Kody, I didn't bring you here to embarrass you, she said. I brought you here to offer you a decision. They all gazed up. Even Kody swiveled around, bewildered. He had anticipated payback. She delivered a doorway instead. This house, it never was ever about money to me, Christine went on. It was the last location this family was intact. The final space where the children had parents both living in the same house. She pulled out a duplicate of the deed from her folder. There's still one section remaining. An untapped lot of land. Corner lot east side. I had it sectioned out. Just in case. Kody furrowed his brow. Just in case. What? Christine took a deep breath. Just in case you ever did appear not to fight, but to own up, to take responsibility, to demonstrate to our children, particularly your sons, that owning your sins is more important than owning property. That offer struck more brutally than any accusation, because it wasn't alms, it was responsibility. Kody took a step closer. He glanced at the paper. His voice, still hoarse. You'd give me that lot, after all this? No, Christine said. I'd sell it to you, fair price, with a contract. No secrets, no manipulation. You'd build on it with your own money, your own hands, no one else to blame this time. It was the first real consequence she'd ever handed him directly, wrapped not in punishment, but in choice. The others waited. Garrison's expression was impenetrable. Robyn seemed stunned, silently observing the man she protected, being given something no one else had been willing to offer him, redemption. And Christine, she was through waiting for him to turn into the man she'd hoped he'd be. She simply opened the door and turned away, allowing him to decide if he'd walk through. You can be bitter, she said, one hand gripping her car door. Or you can be better. That's not my fight anymore. She didn't glance back. She didn't have to. Because her strength wasn't in his reaction. It was in her freedom. The most dangerous truth is the one you finally accept about yourself. And in that still yard, ringed with history, brokenness and the vibration of what might have been, Kody stood alone, for the first time in years, with an honest opportunity to rebuild, not through manipulation, not with control, but with choice. The yard was vacant now. Janelle had slipped out silently. Garrison departed shortly thereafter, driving away with that same quiet fortitude he'd exhibited all day. Christine had been the final one to leave. No tantrum, no slam of the door. Just a woman who at last returned the burden she'd never been intended to bear. And Kody, he stood there far into evening. The breeze was cooler now, the sky fading to a pale Arizona violet. The bench was askew. The family picture still lay on it, glaring up like a memorial to a life beyond reach. He bent down, took it up. For the first time, his fingers touched the faces, not to recall who complied, but to recall who counted. This was what he lost. Not territory, not control, but love. Sometimes redemption doesn't begin with an apology. It begins with understanding why one is needed. 3 days later, Christine got the email. Simple subject line. East lot offer. Reviewed and signed. Attached was a signed contract. No edits, no complaints, full price, no loopholes, no games, and then one line of text beneath it. If this is the only way to earn back my place in their lives, then I'll build from the dirt up. Christine did not respond. She did not have to. She shut her laptop and gazed out the window. The same terrain once so heavy with tension now was lighter. A start. Elsewhere, Robyn sat in her dining room, observing her children color with crayons. For the first time, her phone did not vibrate. No calls, no emergency, just calm. Even she had released something that day. And Garrison, he showed up on the lot a week later with his truck and a pair of work gloves. Didn't say much to Kody, just nodded. "If you're serious," he said, "start with the fence line." Kody didn't argue. He picked up a post and got to work. Sweat replaced silence, one board at a time. Healing doesn't always look like a family photo. Sometimes it's two hands building a fence in the Arizona sun. Janelle stopped by with lemonade. Later that afternoon, no speech, no confrontation, just a quiet show of presence. "You've still got a long way to go," she said. "But this is a start." Kody looked around, dirt under his nails, shirt clinging to his back. But his eyes for once held something new: gratitude. As for Christine, she never turned back to check if Kody completed the fence. Because this tale was never about if he'd change. It was about demonstrating she didn't have to wait anymore. She'd already moved on. Sometimes the true justice isn't retribution, it's peace. And sometimes the strongest human isn't the victor of the battle. It's the one who walks away free. If this tale resonated with you, don't miss subscribing to Sister Wives Daily Scoop for more impactful truths, emotional awakenings, and unforgettable family moments. What would you have done in Christine's shoes? Let us know in the comments. Your voice matters. Let's discuss it below.